button at the top. All right. So there are some slides. Here is me. Great to be with you today. Welcome, everyone. My name is Karl Aho. I teach in the Department of Government, Legal Studies, and Philosophy here at Tarleton State, and I am presenting from home due to an injury. So if I end up doing more tech stuff, I apologize in advance for typing like a Tyrannosaurus, and a one-armed one at that. I do want to get to the spirit of book banning. I literally also added that to my slides, so we'll go there in a minute. But especially since we've had this great sort of Star Wars title scroll survey of access to knowledge, access to text, access to literature. In the previous session, I do want to get a little interactive, give some of my time over for some of that discussion with the folks in the room on the great campus here in Stephenville at the Dick Smith Library, as well as those joining in on the Zoom. So do want to hear from you, and I'm going to invite you to participate in a few places, one very early on in just a moment, and then I hope we can have some discussion at the end. So you can hop on the audio if you have that ability. You can answer in the chat, and we'll go from there. So my title is A Tale of Two Book Bans, York, Pennsylvania, and Leander, Texas. And I do want to get to those shortly. But as we just heard from Adam, the spirit of book banning still lives on. And we got a moment ago some discussion of what that is about. And I would love for you to think, as we're going through these two particular cases, sort of what's driving that spirit. I didn't get a chance to work out the German word for that. I'm sure it's fascinating. I'll work it out after the session right now. But I'm interested in your thoughts about what the threats are specifically, besides direct sort of book bans like the two cases I'm going to talk about. And I'm interested in what you think is behind them. Is this part of some broader zeitgeist, if we want to invoke some philosophical German? Is it part of the spirit of the age or the spirit of the times, as the German word Zeitgeist literally means or refers to, or is there something else going on here? So hang on to that. We can get to it in the Q&A. I want to look at York, Pennsylvania, and Leander, Texas. Initially, because they are two recent high-profile cases of literal book bans, or at least things that resemble literal book bans. There's some discussion in both of these about the extent of the ban. It's not like they are removing the books from publication, but in both cases, the books had been part of classroom resources. So they would show up in specific classroom libraries. And in the case of York, Pennsylvania, they were literally a recommended book list. And this is a massive list. I thought about trying to include it in the presentation, but most people that I've seen actually going through the list, we use something like a spreadsheet, or there is one sort of really nice graphically organized version, almost like a poster that someone has put together. And I can help people find those if you're interested after the talk. But it's just a ton of books on a wide range of topics, some of them about arguably legendary figures in US history, Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, etc. And this one has been going on for a while. They initially took action against this lengthy list of books back in November of last year. They affirmed the ban, they continued it in September of this year. But, and here is a bright moment in this story of book bans. They reversed their position. They gave permission to make the books available once again, very quickly afterwards, right? I think there's like a 4-day difference there. And I think that's a Monday and a Friday. So really in the space of 1 week, their position was reversed. So we'll talk about why that is in a minute. Situation in Leander, Texas, pretty similar. It's a shorter but still significant list of books. And this one I think is notable because it includes some graphic novels. So Why the Last Man, which is a graphic novel of a sort of post-apocalyptic future, United States, is on the list. And you might wonder, what's going on there? This is like science fiction or something, but it does talk about gender in ways that might make some folks uncomfortable. So maybe the conversation about what texts make people uncomfortable and should education be comfortable or not, maybe that's part of this discussion. And we can get into that again in the Q&A if you like. But unlike the situation in New York, Pennsylvania, the situation here has, if anything, escalated. It's gotten worse. A parent literally made a complaint to the police department. So I think this is a nice argument for the core curriculum. You might think, well, if I'm going into law enforcement, I don't need to read. Well, here is literally a case where the police are being asked to evaluate the content of at least one of the books on this list. So hurrah for core curriculum, perhaps. But also, I think this is, if the York, Pennsylvania story is ultimately a celebratory one because the ban was reversed, at least currently, I think the Leander case, much closer to home, right? York, Pennsylvania, it's in the south central part of the state, whereas Leander, Texas, some of you may know, it is Austin adjacent. In fact, part of the city of Leander is in Travis County. So this one's pretty close to home for us here in the great state of Texas. And I think it is, at least at this point in the narrative, in the issue, a much darker situation, because it's not just a school plus parents situation. Now the police are playing a role, and I think there are certainly concerns that this could at least have a chilling effect going forward. So I want to ask what's going on with these cases, and I want to do that not just from the perspective of comparison, but I want to say the ways in which these cases are analogically similar and the ways in which they are disanalogous is going to tell us important things about the spirit of book banning and how we might respond to it in 2021. In order to do that, we got to talk about what an argument from analogy is exactly. I grabbed the definition from one of the great electronic resources of our time, the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. And if you're not familiar with this one, 10 out of 10 would recommend. It's almost certainly going to go into more detail than you want or need, but it is a not just crowdsourced, but philosopher resourced list of, not just list, but encyclopedia of resources on and discussion of various authors. And it actually predates Wikipedia. So arguably, philosophers were there first. So great resource if you are not familiar. So what is an argument from analogy? We're not just looking at trivial similarities. We're looking for salient similarities, relevant ones. The sentence I picked out from early in their entry on analogy talks about accepted similarities between two systems, in this case, two book bans, to support the conclusion that some further similarity, or in this case, a relevant dissimilarity exists. Also want to point out, Amanda in the chat has the York list. So check that out if you are so inclined. Maybe we'll open it up ourselves in the Q&A. One similarity, one point of comparison, if we wanted to stick with comparison, would be, hey, these are two recent cases in the United States. So there's a geographical similarity and a chronological similarity. Okay. But I think the similarity goes deeper. So we should ask ourselves, besides being recent, how are these cases relevantly similar? Well, they both went viral. I'll let you look up the videos on your own. The Leander one in particular of the school board meeting is pretty intense. Viewer discretion advised, perhaps, because of how direct one of the parents is in talking about the things in the book they don't like. But they've both made it beyond sort of the local news and into the popular discourse, including in international news, right? So there's a Daily Mail piece that talks about them both sort of in the same breath. I think the Daily Mail piece actually goes too far because it calls it an identical ban. And I don't think, strictly speaking, it's identical. The Leander list is much shorter than the York list, but certainly these are not just recent cases, but ones that have made it into the discourse, if you will. Now we might think, well, hold on, wait a minute. Maybe these cases are politically disanalogous. You know, after all, isn't Pennsylvania pretty politically different from Texas? Aren't we talking about a red state and a at least purple, possibly even blue state? Well, not so fast. In 2020, 62% of voters in York, Pennsylvania supported Mr. Trump. Hard to find results for Leander specifically because it straddles the county line. But the Williamson County portion of Leander, or at least Williamson County, narrowly supported Mr. Biden. So these book bans, whatever's going on with them, aren't sort of directly driven, or they don't automatically line up with political affiliation. So we've got several ways in which these cases in York and Leander might be analogous. What's the relevant disanalogy? How are these cases relevantly different from each other, and what might that relevant difference tell us about how we might respond to the spirit of book banning in the present age? Well, I want to suggest that the difference in these cases is the students. So here's a headline for an opinion piece from the Philadelphia Inquirer, and the author, I guess Mr. Bunch, discusses in the column how in central York, right, York, Pennsylvania, the kids are rising up to save these books from the parents and the school board folks who are threatening them. And this is not to say that there aren't efforts along these lines in Leander. There is, in fact, a banned books reading group at one of the schools in Leander. So, you know, hurrah for those students. But I think the advocacy done by the students and for the students in York is really impressive. And many of the stories reporting on this case suggest that if it weren't for the students speaking up, getting the word out, rallying support, etc., the book ban would not have been reversed. So if the students are making the difference here, we might ask, how the folks affected by these bans and other ways in which people lose access to knowledge, such as the destruction of the library at Alexandria, F in the chat to pay respects if you are so inclined. How can those affected by bans and these other threats to knowledge and learning, how can folks advocate for themselves and for each other? This is what I want to get into in the time we have for discussion, which I know isn't a ton, but we've got maybe 10, maybe 5 if we want to get a break in. I want to get back into this question of what are the threats today and to whom? Is it the literal book bans? It was in Pennsylvania and is in Leander. Or is it something else? For example, is it the resource insecurity Elliot mentioned in the earlier Q&A? And I want to pick up on that point. We often talk about, I often talk about OER as one strategy, open educational resources as one strategy that we can use to respond to these issues, but having access to text electronically only helps when you have a way to access them electronically. A statistic I read a few years ago said that 1 in 5 students accesses the internet primarily on their phone. And well, there are phone e-readers and other small tablet style e-readers. I do think the technology people use to access texts is a factor. And if that's limited, as we saw during the pandemic with the lack of rural broadband, et cetera, then I think saying, hey, we've got a technological solution to this spirit of book banning is insufficient, and we need to be more like these really incredible high school students in New York, Pennsylvania, and do some of that advocacy work for ourselves. So I'm gonna stop share and I'm gonna open it up to the chat or folks in the room. I don't know if it's easier to pass the mic around or to have Adam relay questions, but I would love to talk about these issues with you during this important week where we address the spirit of book banning face on.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aho. Yeah, it probably is easier for me to just kind of quickly walk the mic over to people who have comments or questions, starting with Elliot.
All right, yeah, so we'll Elliot and then Kimberly in the chat.
There's something that I think I neglected to address, and I thought about it during your presentation. Aside from resource insecurity, we can look at state legislation or local legislation that affects how individuals can advocate against certain policies. For instance, Senate Bill 5, while it doesn't directly affect literature, Senate Bill 5 passed in Texas restricts certain things in social studies curriculum from being taught, and it makes the social studies curriculum more homogenous, and in turn certain books and literature can be banned because of that process. However, because of the strongholds in terms of political affiliation in certain areas, it could be more and more difficult, and acquiring those resources to advocate against that, it may be more and more difficult. But your point still stands. Student advocacy is very important in this, but how are those students going to get those resources in advocating if they don't already have those resources, especially students who are, say, first generation high school students, or if they don't have income readily available, or if they don't have internet readily available. That's something that we also need to consider, is how the state and local precincts affect their legislation affects how people advocate and the composition of that advocacy, because maybe that advocacy doesn't include every voice. maybe a lot of the voices are silenced.
Yeah, I think that's a great concern. If you're going to do things like trying to organize people through what mechanism, right? You need to be able to have the time to do that. And if you have to go to your after-school job right away, you're going to be pretty time limited. I think it's going to be pretty tough to organize a response to something at the school board level, as in this case, over just your lunch break. It's probably going to require more of an investment than that. So yeah, I think the issue of inclusion in activist spaces is a good one. As far as the policies go, I would probably defer to my colleagues in government legal studies and philosophy or other relevant departments, but absolutely, I think they have a big effect. Kimberly in the chat says one threat is strict copyright policies in a time of digital learning. And I think that's a big issue. It's certainly an issue with OER. This is in one of my areas of expertise, so I can talk about this a little. The state of Texas definition of OER stipulates that it has to be remixable. So it's either licensed in a way that you can remix it and change things on your own for your own context, or it has to be in the public domain, which means there are many cases where you've got resources licensed for educational use that might be really high quality resources. And since it's for educational use, ordinarily you could use them. But if you're operating under a policy that mandates OER in the technical legal sense, you might not be able to use those resources. I know I've personally run into that. And I'm sure there are even more cases beyond just the technical definition of OER, but that's one that I've run into personally. Kimberly in the chat following up, some libraries are addressing it by controlled digital lending. Yeah, so making a digital resource that's in the library's collection available to all students. And that could be one way to go as well. So yeah, the copyright issues I think are live ones, and have been, I think, for a long time, but maybe now more than ever, especially in the increased push to online education that we saw during the recent pandemic. So yeah, really good discussion of a few different issues related to the spirit of book banning. And